time, but literally only gonna be on here for a few minutes because I'm on my way out to the gym. Um, but I wanted to piggyback on some stuff that I said yesterday when I pretty much wanted to say fuck Barack Obama for chastising black men for not supporting Kamala Harris. One, he's nobody's father other than his two little daughters to be talking to us in such a manner. We don't need someone talking down to us. That's a that's one of the problems. We don't like tethers. Tethers being a derogatory term for black immigrants to separate ourselves from them. Us who are foundational black Americans who've been here since the beginning, who've been here since the antebellum South. Um, we are the original blacks in America, not these immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and Latin America. We're tired of them talking shit about us and getting into positions of political power and then pretending to be black and speaking for us, but not representing our interests. Fuck him. Also, he's talking. What's up, Tactical? What's going on, man? Also, he wants to talk about black men not supporting Kamala and either voting for Trump or not voting at all or voting third party. Um, he doesn't look at, for someone who's supposed to be as educated as he is. He's not looking at stats because there are almost an equal amount of black women who are not supporting her either. So I've seen one poll where it's showing about 20% of black men aren't supporting Kamala. Guess what? About 12% of black women aren't either. They're not buying her shit either. But when he finds that out, either he's going to ignore it or he's going to send out old Michael after the women, Michelle. But we know she's Michael. But he's going to be sending Michael after the women next to scold them for not voting for her. You supposed to support your sisters, blah blah blah. So I can't wait to see that. If that happens, that would be hilarious to see Michelle Obama come out and scold black women who aren't supporting her, because there are a sizable number of black women who also aren't supporting Kamahaha. So I'm putting it out there. And like I said, there are varied reasons why black people aren't supporting Kamala. Varied reasons. So, I mean, we can get into them. For one, like I said, we were all duped by Obama during his reign in the president's office for 8 years. He did nothing for black people. The only thing he did stuff for was for the LGBTQ community, where he legalized same sex for them and waved their flags. Um, and he did the Affordable Care Act, which is, don't get me wrong, that was good, but it didn't go far enough. But that was his legacy: legalizing same-sex marriage and Affordable Health Care Act. He did nothing for black people while he was in office. He even said he wasn't. He said he wasn't the black president. He was the American president. That's cool. Well, we have no reason to listen to you then. You didn't represent black people's interests in office, and you're not really representing our interests now while you're out of office. You were just lecturing black people because you think, well, I'm black or black adjacent rather, and I'm gonna talk down to these black men and say that they're all sexist. That's why they're not voting for Kamala, because that's what he said at that Pittsburgh interview. But that doesn't even mesh out, because back in 2016 when Hillary ran, 92% of black people voted for her. 92% of the black electorate voted for Hillary, including men. Men voted in equal numbers to black women for Hillary back in 2016. So tell me again how suddenly black men are sexist and aren't, and that's the reason why they're not voting for Kamala, because of misogyny. Even though, again, 92% of the black electorate voted for Hillary in 2016, and the bitch still lost. And that was equal parts women and men, equal parts black men and black women who voted for Hillary at 92%. 92%. If you give me a 92% on anything, I would be happy. 92% on an exam, that's an A. 92% chance of winning the lottery, I'm winning it. 92% of remission from a intractable disease, that means I'm beating it. 92% of winning a game, I'm winning. Like, yo, the bitch still lost. She had 92% of the black vote locked in 2016. She still lost. Guess what? Biden had 90% of the black vote, including men in equal numbers to black women back in 2020. He won at 90%. You want to know what the difference was between those two elections, 2016 and 2020? White women. But he won't scold them. The people who betrayed Hillary, it wasn't black men. Black men weren't being misogynist. Black men voted in equal numbers to black women for Hillary's bitch ass. You know who didn't vote for her in droves? White women. A lot of them voted for Trump because they wanted a strong male leader, or they just don't like Hillary. Either way, they were the reasons that she lost. But no one scolded them. No one scolded them. Mind you, they tried to blame black men back in 2016, but most of the ire came down on Bernie Sanders and his supporters back in 2016. Oh, it's because of Bernie Sanders. Like, he didn't have the right to run for office just like she did. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I'm back. So, like, he didn't have, and then when she beat him after using the DNC to push him out, they like, we've seen the emails. We know that they literally were pushing him out. They even said in the emails, if he won by the numbers, that they still weren't going to pick him as the Democratic candidate for the election, for the general election. They said even if he won the primary, they were still gonna they still weren't gonna select him. So he was fucked either way. And even after knowing that, that man Bernie was still a good soldier and supported her. The only thing he asked was that she put some of his policies into her campaign, which she did, and that's why I ended up voting for her, because Bernie supported her despite the fact they did him so dirty. But the main people who caused her to lose her election were white women. They rather vote for a strong male leader. They didn't want her. In Biden, they saw somewhat of a strong male leader, so women voted for him. Black Death Gamer says Bernie sat like a good dog when Hillary told him to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wish he didn't, but like, he had no way of going forward, gaming, because again, we saw the emails after the election, which showed that the DNC said even if he won the primary by the numbers, they still weren't going to select him as their candidate, and they were going to do anything they could to trip him up to make sure he didn't get he didn't win the primary. So fuck the Democrats, fuck the DNC. And now these Democratic leaders are trying to send their little house nigger Obama out to school black men on how to vote. Fuck that. Fuck the Democrats. Fuck the DNC. Fuck that house nigger Obama. Well, he's not even a real black person anyway. But fuck that little African tether. Um, Fuck Kamala Harris. She's not black. The bitch is Indian and Jamaican, and most of that Jamaican isn't even black. It's also Indian. and white. Her grandmother was white on her father's side. But fuck Obama. He's never had any contact with the black community throughout his adulthood, except for 2 years as a community activist in Chicago, which he only used to fluff up his curricula vitae to apply to Harvard Law. Other than that, he's never lived in the black community or amongst black people, nor dated black women other than Michelle or Big Michael. And I have nothing against whom he dates because I prefer other women of other races too. Ergo, my wife. But again, he's had other than his 2 years as a community activist, he had no touch with black people. And his father wasn't black American. His father was a Kenyan immigrant who married his little redneck mother and lived in Hawaii with his white grandparents. Then he also lived in Indonesia with his stepfather. Never lived amongst black people. Fuck Obama. Like maybe some black people who had, will listen to him because they see him as a daddy. I had a father, so I don't need that nigga. Fuck him. Um, but lecturing black people in Pittsburgh, like, the only thing I see is maybe you guys must have a problem with voting for a woman. So why did they vote for Hillary then? Like what he's saying isn't adding up. Plus, like I said, if you add in the numbers, where if there's 20% of black men not supporting Kamala, there's about 12% black women not supporting her either. So is Big Michael gonna come out and scold them next? Michelle, Big Michael, is she gonna come out and tell these black women they need to stay in line as well? Uh, Gaiman says I'm white and I could do it better than that. He said I thought it was funny that they were like, here's the first black president. He's still related to George Washington like all the other ones. That's just odd. I mean, if he did have a uh, relation going back to George Washington, that would actually be good because that would be something he should have touted, saying, "Hey, this is the first black president, and he has ancestry going back to George Washington." Because best to believe, if I ever go into office, I'm going to tout the fact that I have ancestry going back to Thomas Jefferson, which I do on my father's side. I would tout that, but again, Obama's just a tether, and we're not listening to him. And the fact is, there's a lot of black people supporting Trump, and these aren't your typical black conservatives. These are dudes from the hood that are supporting him. These are hood dudes. So, Life Free says he had lots of money, so that's probably why he never lived among black people. Well, he wasn't rich. I mean, his grandmother worked at a bank or something like that in Hawaii. I wouldn't say they were rich. I would say they were all right. Well, to live in Hawaii comfortably, you have to be like upper middle class because it's so expensive. So I'll say that he probably grew up like upper middle class with his amongst his grandparents in Hawaii. His mother had a doctorate, I think. His father his had a doctorate, but he didn't really know his father that much. Like, his father after the marriage dissolved with his mother, his Kenyan immigrant father moved back to Kenya, and he didn't see his Kenyan side of the family until he was an adult, like somewhere in his 20s or whatever, or 30, something like that. Um, so even with his African roots, he didn't have a strong tie to that, a strong cultural tie to his African roots either. So again, for him to be sitting there lecturing black men like he's in a position to do so, just shows a lot of just shows how brazen the Democrats are and how little they think of black people. That they think they can send this house Negro out to lecture black men on how they should vote. First of all, you shouldn't even be telling them they need to vote for Kamala. You should just say, "Hey, we think it's important that you guys vote." But to sit there and tell people whom to vote. That that's some brazen shit. That's some brazen shit telling black men that they are basically it is their duty to vote for Kamala. Like he literally like he's basically saying in that Pittsburgh interview last weekend, it is their duty to vote for this bitch. And fuck him. And fuck Kamala. Little fake black bitch. The 11 says he specifically made sure he to mention he smoked in college in that speech. Man, fuck him. But no, not nothing against you, 11. But yeah, he just he's so fugazi. Gamer says the big Mike Clark Kent meme is my favorite. Officer Loomis says, "Hey, how you doing? What's up, Officer Loomis? I haven't seen you in a few days." Life Free says this will probably stop you becoming president. I that won't be the well, yeah, it won't. I don't see an. Hopefully, no content creator will become a president. I don't want, including myself. I don't want any content creator from becoming president. Honestly, I don't want the job. Like when you're a kid in the 80s and 90s, everyone's told, "Oh, one day one of you kids can grow up to be president." Because in the 80s and 90s, that to become president was like was like breaking the glass ceiling to become a president. But guess what? I don't want the job. I don't want it. I'd rather be if I was involved in electoral politics, I'd rather be the person behind the person in charge. You know, I don't know if you ever watched Game of Thrones. I don't want to be the king. I'd rather be the advisor to the king. So, Officer Limit says, by the way, if I had to be honest, I'm not working for anyone. Noting nothing personal. It's just I'm not into politics. That's fair. I think that's fair. Gaiman says I was enjoying every minute of it. I thought he was about to do the Carlton dance. Man, Carlton has more black bona fides than Obama. At least Carlton, uh, I forget the actual actor's name. He's like legit black, even though some black people have wrote him off as corny or as whitewashed or whatever. I've never talked bad on the actor who played Carlton because I remember him from a long time ago when he was first on the TV show Silver Spoons in the 80s. And I remember he did those I think Coca-Cola ads with Michael Jackson. He could dance just like Michael. Like people remember him for the Carlton dance, but they don't remember he could pop and lock, and he was able to dance with Michael Jackson when he was a kid. So, you know, I'm always give the actor who played Carlton his props. It's not his fault he got typecasted later on because of that role. But Carlton is way more blacker than Obama. Gaiman says, "I'll tell you one thing, officer. If you're not into the politics event, eventually politics is going to be into you." Pause. But yeah, he's not. I don't think he's saying he's not into politics. He's saying he's not. I think he's saying he's not partisan one way or another. Like he's not. He doesn't feel bound to any party or ideology. I think that's what Officer Lumen is saying. Tactical says, just if we get Kamala, the whole country is screwed. Right. Like for all this talk about Trump is going to get us into World War III, it was Biden and Kamala just gotten us the closest to fucking World War III from supporting fucking Ukraine with with their war against Russia, which was a losing battle from the beginning. Um, the shit going on between Israel and the rest of the Middle East right now, and this proxy war with China through Taiwan, they're the ones that's getting us very close to World War III, not Trump. Trump got us in no new wars when he was in office. Uh, Officer Lemon says, "Ayo, what?" He said, "To be honest, Kamala's stupid. Sleepy Joe's pet." Well, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna hit the gym. We can continue this possibly later tonight. But I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what I was talking about yesterday, because I was so disgusted the whole weekend with this monkey talking shit about black people, and he's not even black himself. He's just black adjacent, and think he can lecture black men on how to vote and accuse them of misogyny when they overwhelmingly supported Hillary back in 2016. So, obviously, let me say any president we get here, we get our fucked anyway. Hopefully not, but guys, I'm gonna go. I'll be back this evening with a similar but different topic. All right. Just wanted to piggyback on yesterday. Appreciate appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.